So I know folks, a lot of folks are saying, it would be a nightmare again if Cashman came back to the Yankees, right? As GM and whatever else. We already know Boone is coming back as manager, but he's already met with Hal Steinbrenner and have had basic talks and whatnot. But Hal Steinbrenner hasn't made anything or put pen to paper and made it official yet that Cashman's coming back. But there's one scenario that could be worse, an absolute nightmare, disaster, if Cashman walks, okay? And that would be if he walks and goes over to the Queens and becomes the Mets GM or president of operations. You got Billy Epler over there too, who's kind of managing GM duties. But there's some baseball executives who know Steve Coleman well, and are already saying that if he becomes a free agent, he'll get offers right away too. Everybody knows this. As much as he's hated by a lot of Yankee fans, he is revered around Major League Baseball, the league. Brian Cashman, okay, he is. That's just a fact. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're good or not. If he goes over to the Mets, right, and a lot of these guys are MLB executives, like I said, they know Cohen. They said he would have no problem. He would be more than willing to bring him in and basically have him work with Epler, be Epler's boss, whatever kind of arrangement they figured out. And could you imagine if he goes over there and he turns the Mets into a juggernaut? People would be rioting in the streets no matter who's the GM here. If it's Billy Beane or whatever, it's some random person, Derek Jeter, which I don't think is happening, at least anytime soon. But that is, I think, in my opinion, I agree with this article. And I'm going to link this article down below. It's a worst-case scenario, absolute worst-case scenario. If he goes there and turns that place into just an absolute force to reckon with, okay? I don't know how many people have thought of that, but it's definitely a possibility. And again, he's going to have no shortage of offers once, if he declares free agent or whatever they do in GM world. And if it's known that he's essentially, Cashman might be parting ways with Hal Steinbrenner and the Yankees, he will be employed in a day, most likely a day. Okay? Or he will at least have offers in the day, multiple offers in that day, and then he'll just have his, just like free agent players, he'll have a bunch of offers to decide on. So, and I know there'll be calls to fire him if they don't re-up Aaron Judge. We know this too, and as well as some other moves. And we all know that a lot of this stuff is already being pointed at Brian Cashman, their ouster from the ALCS, and never mind the hitters didn't do anything really offensively. That's not a Brian Cashman thing, but he is also responsible for constructing a roster that was flawed in a lot of different areas, and not even having enough backup guys who were basically strong enough to replace the starters when they went down, because we had 16 guys on the IL. Okay, so that's a lot. So, and again, they're not good enough to beat the Astros. That's pretty obvious. All right, and so there are some things that they need to do. So that hasn't been decided yet, obviously. So once it becomes official one way or the other, I'll put it out. So just make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that stuff. Okay, I will let you know immediately, and because I think this is going to shape him, and his decision and Aaron Judge decisions are going to shape almost the entire Yankees offseason. And what they do, what they don't do, and I'm in the midst of my two-part series with Aaron Judge, 3 players to target and avoid if he stays, which I just dropped this morning, and tomorrow is going to be 3 players to avoid and a target if he leaves, which will be different. So take a look at those. I want you to give me your insight, and I also want you to give me your insight on this Brian Cashman thing. Have you thought about this? Okay. If he leaves, people will be happy. But if he goes over to Citi Field and he turns it into the best team in baseball, would you still be happy that he left? I wouldn't. So, and this is keeping the emotional component out of this, and it's easier said than done. Okay, but again, his track record, even though he's made bonehead mistakes, it's also up even Kay said and a bunch of other folks, it is. The players have to perform themselves. There's no get-out-of-jail-free cards for players. Okay, and at least there shouldn't be, even though there is sometimes. Okay, so what's your take on this? I find it interesting. And in this, this article, what's it from? I'm just going to source the article. And again, it's going to be down from NewJersey.com. So they do a lot of Yankee stuff. And published today. Again, I'm going to link it down below, so I want you to read it and take a look and just let me know what you think one way or the other, because they do make a lot of good points, and they source people and other things here as well. So it's a credible article. It's not a propaganda piece or whatever. And this presents a whole different scenario. So, and again, like I said, I know a lot of fans would be happy if he's gone, but add that wrinkle in there. How would you feel? That would suck. Because I think anywhere he goes, if he decides to go to greener pastures or different pastures, whatever, there's not many pastures that are greener than the Yankees. So, but if he goes somewhere else and turns them into a powerhouse, and then the Yankees don't do much, that's going to be a crappy scenario that we're going to have to live with for a while. So, and again, there's no guarantees coming back yet. There's no guarantees leaving. So this is what they do. They don't tell us anything until just you wake up one morning, you're like, oh my God, that's probably how we're going to wake up in the morning or during the mid-afternoon on MLB Network. The news is just going to break randomly one day. It's not going to be like, he's going to make a decision tomorrow at 8:55 p.m. I doubt that's going to happen. Not with Brian Cashman. Not with Hal. They're very cryptic. They're lockjawed. Fort Knox. They're not going to tell you anything. So I find it very interesting. I find it really, really interesting. And again, what's your take on Brian Cashman, too? Love him, hate him, just like him, down the middle. And he's made some boneheaded moves, but he's got 30 consecutive years of winning records and the most wins of teams in the last 20 years. And he's got four world titles to his belt, even though he did inherit some of the core four, all the core four, as much as people like to say. But he also added to the core four, and the core four wouldn't have won all those other championships by themselves without the things that he added. So, like I said, I criticize him, but I'll give him credit where it's due also, and it's both ways here. At least in my opinion, it goes both ways. It's pointless to just bash him. He's got more titles than pretty much everybody. So, and there's no asterisk on any of them. There's no cheating world championships, none of this stuff. No cameras in the walls, no whatever, beating garbage cans and all that blah blah blah. He doesn't have any of that, But again, has he been flawed recently? I do think he needs to move into the modern era a little bit, not only with just how other teams evolve and move, but I think he's got to adopt a little bit of a different way. Maybe not him, but just the Yankees themselves adopt a different way of using analytics. There has to be some kind of balance between analytics and experience and instincts and growing up old school baseball fundamental stuff, because that balance, I think, is going to be key to helping them. The Astros have figured out a way to make it work for them, so have the Mets, so have the Dodgers, and like the Rays. Yankees have to figure out a way to make it work for themselves and not trying to turn non-power hitters into power hitters, because that's been not working well for them. But that's my take. Read the article. Let me know what you think. It's important. Talk to you guys later.